organization. But how to protect, when to protect, who to protect? From this ultimate defense principle based, or we call it trust, TRUST. So T considered as your top level commitment, R, which is your risk assessment, U, your undertaking of control measure, S, systematic review, monitoring and enforcement, T, training and communication. Where you can get this trust, where you can find this trust. So my question, how do you meet this burden of proof? So the answer is based on your adequate procedure ataupun this trust framework lah. You can find this, or it come from ISO 371. So the fantastic set of principle, which this is considered of the roadmap of implementations of ISO 37001. It's designed to help you prevent, detect, and respond towards your bribery. It's provide your structure, auditable framework that perfectly align with and expands upon the trust principle, which is TRUST. So when you think about trust, there is a what, and ISO 37001, which is how and what is the proof. Top level commitment. So this is the first principle, yeah, the T, the top level commitment. This is about how we going to create a culture of integrity, and also ISO 37 is playing a vital role here by making it a formal, documentable requirement. Okay, remember when we talk about ISO, it's about documentations. Now, it is mandated that top management establish a clear anti-bribery policy, communicate it to the personnel and your associate person to ensure that the system has adequate authority and the resources, which is mean this designated a competent person or functions to oversee your anti-bribery management system, or we call it as ABMS. It's non-negotiable, yeah, visible commitment that demonstrate to both MACC and your shareholder or your stakeholder that you seriously taking about to fighting your corruptions issue. So this is the top level commitment expanded. How about R, risk assessment? So the R is for risk assessment, which is under ISO 37001. They provide a detailed, systematic process for this topic. You must conduct a formal documentation, risk assessment for both internal and also external bribery risk. So, question back to you. Have you identified related risks to anti-bribery or to your bribery and your corruptions in your organization? If not, then you can start look over and include it on your risk assessment table. So this is not a one-time exercise, yeah. I remind you, not a one-time exercise, which it requires you to consider the size of your organization, your geographical location, where you operate, the sector you serve, and also the nature of your transaction. So the beauty of ISO 37001 required you to re-evaluate. Now, this is the beauty. Review and re-evaluate every year or annually. If this risk reviewed regularly. So ensure your control are always in order and relevant to your current business nature or your business environment. So we covered two already, T and R. Now, U, undertakes control measure. This is not mix of your system. But ISO 371, they provide a comprehensive list of control which you may consider. So this also include the robust financial and non-financial control. For example, segregations of duty, clear authorized limitations, and maybe a documented gift and hospitality policy. Maybe you heard before. If you implement ISO 37001 or you implement anti-bribery and corruption, there is the authority limit. Okay. Bila you receive a gift, then you have to register inside your formal form. This is what we call documented gift or hospitality policy. What is your cut off or your limits to accept a gift from your third party? So it also mandates rigorous due diligence on the high risk associate person. For example, those who play with the numbers, the money, example like your procurements, your finance, considered as high risk associate person. And also maybe your business partner. So to ensure you know who are you dealing with and what they share, how they share your commitments to integrity with your anti-bribery and corruption. So technically, it's critically the ISO 37000 requires a secure, accessible, and confidential whistleblowing mechanism to report suspect bribery. So in this, you undertake control measure. What you need to identify is your whistleblowing mechanism. Okay, your policy, is it in place? Your authorities limit, your documentations receiving gift and hospitality policy, are they in place? Then you, after this, you can recheck back, and if not, then we can prepare one. Systematic, we already covered 3, TRU, now is S, systematic review. So what is S? What is systematic review? Monitoring and enforcement. What we want to monitor, what we're going to review. Your anti-bribery system tak mati The system is not static. So ISO 371 required the organization to continually monitor and measure the performance. How? By regular internal audit, 1, management review, 2, and your clear process on handling non-conformities. 3 ni. Sama kan macam ISO 9001. If you have experience on ISO 9001, lebih kurang, because the foundations of ISO or the mother of ISO is actually the ISO 9001. No, 37,000, the 37,001 use implementing the same principle, which is you continuously monitor and measure the performance. So this is under SM. If an issue was founded, you or the organization must have a procedure for taking a corrective action and enforce disciplinary measures consistently. We call it this audit trail. Yeah. So this audit trail, we can say, act as your proof, bukti, which is it show that your system is effective and you are not just ticking the box, but actively managing your risk. Last but not least, training and communication. The final T is for training and communication. A well-documented policy is useless if no one is aware of it or understand it. ISO 37001 requires you to provide mandatory documented training to all personnel and associated persons on the anti-bribery policy and system. But according to MACC, how frequent you need to conduct the training and how frequent you need to communicate about this act or policy. So I will suggest it annually conduct the training and a refresher training every year to all employees. So during the session, we will communicate your do and don'ts related to anti-bribery and corruption. After the session, giving some tests to ensure that everyone is understand, know where they stand, and also know how to act if there is a suspected bribery happen in your organization, which is your whistleblowing mechanism. By conducting this training, at least your organizations, your employee know what to react and not feel alone if facing these situations in future. Um, 37,000 required to provide mandatory documented training to all personnel and associate related to your policy and the system. So it's about clear, consistent communications of your policy. So to ensure that everyone knows lah their responsibilities and the consequence of corrupt act. The training communication process becomes the key piece of evidence that you exercise the due diligence to prevent an offense. So, how does it look like the due diligence? The declarations form. Okay, yang paling senang adalah declaration form. Every time you had done or completed your training or your refreshers training, you need ask them to sign your attendance declaration form, saying that they are understand and aware with the policy and the procedure itself, especially on the whistleblowing mechanism. Why? Because this is what they're going to protect your organizations from the offense. So, 2 day sessions, short and precise. It's about how you're going to identify your risk, especially on your risk, anti-bribery and corruption. Identify who is the high personnel or which department yang ada high risk which related to anti-bribery and corruption. Implementations procedure, how you're going to take steps to establish adequate procedure related to the anti-bribery. Then, how are we going to adopt ISO 37001 using as a roadmap by using the TRUST principle. And then, once you adopt, you can start your journey, your trust journey by the process to enhance trust and reputations, safeguard future, ensure the company future security, and also the reputation. So, in a summary, Section 17A is a legal imperative. Your only viable defense, which educate procedure, the trust framework itself, which provide the guiding principle, and also ISO 37000 give you the auditable, systematic, and internationally recognized blueprint for implementing those principles, which is TRUST. By pursuing ISO 37001 certification, you are not just complying with the law, You are proactively building the resilience, technical, and reportable businesses. So this gives you a significant competitive advantage in the market and most importantly, provide peace of mind. Some case study sharing with you. Currently, Malaysia also looking forward organization implementing this ISO 37001. They are looking forward a clean company without bribery and corruption. In other words, practicals on anti-bribery and corruptions in the organization. Why? Because one of the missions, Malaysians with the sustainability in order also in a way, they are hoping that we are clean country without corruptions and without the bribery. So this is our responsibility together to ensure that there is no corruption and also there is no bribery, even though in our organization also help to improve more on this side of or this section. So offense actually about this one. Liable for the failure to prevent corrupted practice by employees and associate person, which is like I mentioned just now, who have interest of the organization, whether not the top level management had actual knowledge of the corrupt acts. So this is when you want to learn more on corporate liability, you can find this how it called framework or the guideline pursuant of subsections 5, which is under section 17A MACC Act 2009. And then this guideline trust also can be found inside this guideline. Okay. So the enforcement, Malaysia Anti-Corruption, effectively on 1st June of 2020. And there is amendments on MACC recently. Okay, let me show you on that one. Here. Effective on 2018, especially on the corporate liability. So, kalau kita buka this law of act, Malaysia Anti-Corruption Commission, there is a lot of subsequent or dia punya clauses, but for today's sessions, technically emphasize on the corporate liability offence, especially on the commercial organisation, may have charge if they show adequate measure or prevent employees or associate person from undertaking corrupt practices. Okay, so maybe do you have any question for today's session, because it's only a little bit sharing knowledge about MACC and also the offense. I can open the question now for you. Yeah.
Okay, I think someone posted in the chat box.
Yeah, I think Mr. Zhang asking for the slides. So I think Mr. Zhang, you can PM us to get the recordings after the webinar. Yeah, Fira.
Yeah.
Okay. So since we're waiting questions from other participants audience, right? Okay. So, there's another participant asking to summarize the presentation.
Okay.
Maybe your thought, yes, before I answer the next question.
So, my summary for today, actually, I will emphasize on the TRUST. So, I don't want to make people frightening when we talk about bribery or offense, then it's kena to all the organization. No, but when your organizations conducting the due diligence itself, this is the key, yeah, to protect your organization, you need to do or you must do wajib. Orang Melayu kata wajib, kena buat the due diligence. How to do due diligence? Like I mentioned just now, through training, um, where you can have all the documentations, your attendance training, your declarations form, your whistleblower mechanism. So this is what they're going to protect from the offense. Okay, corporate liability itself is a wide broad that I mentioned just now. Okay, so like I said, mentioned or I what I can summary is the viable defense is the adequate procedure. So when you follow the TRUST framework, the trust framework, it helps much or I can say straighten up your governance part, which is your anti-bribery and corruption. Alongside, together with ISO 37000, okay, ISO 37001, straighten out more on your anti-bribery system. So ISO 37001 actually it's worldwide known ataupun we can say it's approved worldwidely. So you pergi mana-mana pun orang tahu 37,000 punya certifications boleh laku, boleh dijual. So by this you not just comply with the law, but you are I can say it's building the resilience lah. Your ethicals, reputable. So this is the competitive advantages.
Yeah, Fira, I saw, okay, there's an audience asking, usually the refresher training we suggest is yearly basis, right? But if let's say there's a resource constraint, is it acceptable or possible we have like 2 years once for the refresher training?
Actually, refresher training, it can be animated. I normally teach my client or my reliable partner say that refresher you can send like a video or maybe an email so that you any mediums or any types of communication that you can use, email, WhatsApp, group, video, editing. As long as your policy are stated there clearly, your frameworks are stated there clearly, and they understand what is anti-bribery itself, what is your policy itself, what is the whistleblowing mechanism itself. So it can talk, I said it can communicate with any types or any mediums of communication tools. Refresher training, kalau you tak sempat nak buat physically, you boleh hantar video. Kalau you tak sempat nak buat video, then you can buat summary of your policy and send it over to all your employees. Excuse me. Can, no problem.
Yeah, I think nowadays we can use AI tools to pre-record everything that we want to deliver.
Correct.
The SharePoint or platform. It's easier for everyone.
Boleh. I happy to say that training mediums not only physical, like one-to-one sessions or eye-to-eye session. When refresher, we can slightly buat a more easier way. As long as our objective, they understand, they know, and they know what is the consequence if they really do or you take the bribe. Which kalau I say bribery ni dia worldwide. Bila kita nak buat full blown, it's not about ourselves, tapi it's involve our relative also, our family also. So berhati-hati. I would love to remind you, berhati-hati with what your act, with your posting at any social media, supaya it tidak impact to your surrounding also. Bila you buat satu perkara, bukan sahaja impact dekat you punya organisation, impact to yourself also, but it also impact to your relative, your family especially. So berhati-hati semua. Ha, bukan senang ya.
Also, you suggest it's still like yearly basis, but the methods and the approach can be depends on the organization. Right?
Correct. As long as communicated, then it's okay.
About I saw Aisha asking, is it apply to a big company, big organization, or actually applicable to SME?
It's applicable to
Yeah,
every organisation
very much.
yang berdaftar bawah Malaysia. Yang ada SSM, tak kira you kecil ke, you besar ke, you boleh adopt this one. You boleh apply this one. But currently, Malaysia are focusing on PLC. Focusing this more dekat organisation yang besar lah, public listed company. But for those SME, I suggest you start to adopt this anti bribery and corruption and protect your organisation, because when we talk about penalty and imprison, implicated dia bukan hanya dekat company yang besar saja tau, yang kecil-kecil juga kalau you ambil sedikit aja juga akan impact. Dia tak ada kira you punya company big size or small size. No, once you can implement it, you can, boleh, tak ada masalah.
Yeah, I think by next year, right, for those G7, especially the contractor that who want to tender the government project, which is 100 million and above, then there is compulsory to get ISO 23701.
Correct. This was announced early of the year, if not mistake. So those company yang buat ataupun developer, contractor, construction, they now start checking and implement 37,001. My previous company also asking me, looking for me, asking, Vera, how to implement ISO 37001? Is it hard? Is it expensive? Yes. I would say yes. But it depends on your organization size. Yeah. But it's not that hard, because if you understand the principle or the framework itself, senang je. Dia tak ada it's not too long to get the certification. So SME also can implement ISO 37000, and also big company also required now. Soon or later, those are not in the development sector ataupun construction sector, you required also to implement this soon or later. So we can start preparing by doing the policy, the frameworks, the audit. Start, especially on your risk. Start identify your risk for your organization. Any other question?
Yeah, I think we still have some question in the chat box.
And
So yeah.
The Shahira asking, is it that SME, they have to establish the ABC policy, or actually it's just put a statement or a section in the code of conduct inside their employee handbook? Is it like maybe just
the best
policy
practice? The best practice is to have the policy, because currently it's not yet mandatory to have those policy. Okay, it's a best practice. So SME, you can have a narrative statement saying that we are currently implement or adopting ISO 37,000, and sooner or later we're going to implement this policy in place. So you can plan out ataupun you can roadmap your anti-bribery journey when you're going to establish this policy. So even though it's not yet mandatory for SME, but having it in place, I would say it's a good practice, a good journey, a good protections for your organizations also. So simple policy will do. Not too detailed, tidak terlalu comprehensive, will do.
Unless the company they want to go for ISO 37001, that will be mandatory for them, right? Under the clause.
Correct.
It's just a best practice, then it's not compulsory.
Correct.
About like what type of documentation to be established beside anti-bribery policy? Do you have any suggestion like in best practice lah? Normally for SME, what kind of basic documentation that you would suggest them to start with?
I will suggest you best practice is simple policy. Let's say you don't want to have a policy, at least you have no gift or no gift policy or maybe a hospitality policy in place. You letak berapa you punya cut off accepting gift, because we know Malaysians people generous kind, even festival like Chinese New Year lah, Hari Raya, they are giving hamper, correct? So this what you need, this is what you can practice. Okay, you create a policy, gift policy, letak you punya cut off, berapa minimum amount ataupun maximum amount that you can accept, which is the gift price, harga dia berapa, then you publish it so that people aware, oh, you are not taking bribe, but we can give you a gift as per occasion with limit of amount. Tidak lebih 200 mungkin, for example, ataupun set limit 150. But this is the trick. When you receive a gift, you are register it. So all the gift are not, even though said for example, for procurement department, Miss Liu ataupun Miss June from procurement department, example. When you are already registered, the gift itself you need to circulate to everyone. Adil dan saksama semua orang merasa, supaya tidak timbul suspicion you are receiving bribe from the third party ataupun supplier, for example. So this policy protect your employee, protect your organization also. So this is the minimal documentation that you can created in your organization. The gift and hospitality policy, the gift form, and also declaration saying that all your third party are already known, understand that you are not having bribe or not receive any bribe. Let's say it's a due diligence lah, declaration from the supplier ataupun third party or maybe your consultant, yang kita sedang implement this procedure dalam organisation kita. Let them aware we are strictly not taking any bribe from you. Macam tu.
This one, Fira, you answer Mr. Ng's question. That means not consider a bribery unless, as long as your company set a gift and hospitality policy, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Correct. Then we also have like a whistleblower channel for them to report if anyone misuse the gift.
Ya. Kalau dapat kereta as a gift, jangan ambil, pulang balik.
Yeah, also set a limit lah, because yes, bribery means when we influence someone's decision, then only means bribery. Am I right, Fira?
Correct. Kalau you pergi belanja makan dengan niat to get a project, consider bribery too. So berhati-hati ya. So make sure kalau nak belanja makan, belanja satu office.
Okay, thank you, Fira. I saw another questions, right? Okay, talk about cost we can discuss later. If let's say the company already certified 37001, but then still bribery case happen, so will they affect their certification status?
Certification status, no. Your reputation, yes. Then if you saying that you already implement ISO 37000, put yourself as auditor. Is your system not strong enough, or maybe there is a loop or a gap somewhere in your framework? So you need to how to say, tengok balik, review balik, audit back your organization. What is the risk or um, punca or the root cause? Why is this happening? Is it because you are not communicate well? I mean, kurang training ke? Atau mungkin orang ni memang jenis ignorance ke? So you have to take an action. Let's say memang kita training dah bagi, due diligence dah buat, but still bribery is happening. So the system itself mungkin ada loop. That's why ISO 30, the beauty of 37,000, you have to annually review. You need to have your management review meeting annually. Best practice twice a year. 2 tahun sekali. So you bring up all those issues. Brainstorm with your top management. What is your action to be taken? So straighten up the framework itself. Mungkin ada loop. Mungkin you letak you punya limitations ataupun you punya threshold tu terlalu tinggi. Then rendahkan lagi. Mungkin kurang investigation or mungkin you are not doing the full blown yet. That's why it's still happening. So this is my point of view of a consultant lah. Yeah. Hopefully it's answering your question just now. Yeah.
Yeah, Fira. Okay, Mr. asked, you mentioned about the gift cut off the threshold value. Is there any limit or value as per MACC Act?
No. MACC not mentions the threshold, how much limits. Tapi you need to set by yourself lah. So, possible, the best practice is no gift policy. Tak terima apa-apa gift. That is the best practice. But macam I mentioned, Malaysians people is generous kan. Boleh bagi gift, kuih. So you set the limit, the minimum limit ataupun the minimal threshold yang you can set. Normally threshold, big organisation, they are not more than 250. This is the best practice lah.
Or 250 lah, that's what. Average fee lah, okay.
Yeah.
Can the company apply ISO 37001 without compliance to Section 78?
I'm sorry, what? Come again?
Can the company apply ISO 37001 but without compliance to Section 70?
And actually, if you applying ISO 37001, actually dalam masa yang sama you already comply with Section 17A. It's actually interlinked. Dia sama. Cuma sebab dia adalah Akta Malaysia, so dia nampak banyak clauses. Actually, ISO 37001 is completing MACC Section 17A. So don't worry. Apply Section 37001.
It's part of the legal requirement that you need to comply, right?
Yes.
Okay, just ask another question that may be a lot of questions in the head of the directors of a lot of SME. If let's say in the SME, right, my staff receive or bribe someone, as a director, will I be jailed?
Like I say, you already have the due diligence, right? You dah buat declaration form correct. If still happening, then masalah itu akan terjadi dekat individu itu sendiri. So they are facing those yang buat, yang akan facing the penalty and imprisonment. Because your company already conduct the due diligence and you already save your organization. You already covered.
If the company get to have any procedure, any training, so what will happen to the director of the company?
Sorry, kalau tak ada apa?
Yes, kalau apa-apa tak ada.
Kalau apa-apa pun tak ada, please do. Please do. So
yeah, because of awareness, right? Awareness and commitment.
Please
what
do.
will happen to the director? Yeah.
I consider akan implicated jugalah. Because you are not protecting yourself.
So the director will be questioned as well. By MACC.
Yes. Bahaya ya.
Yeah. Oh, I saw another new question from Eva. What is the current implementation to increase the trust for the people to report through whistleblowing channel? Either good to appoint an external party whistleblowing channel or actually setting internal channel. Pros and cons.
This depends on your organization. If you have budget, then third party. If you don't have, but if you have, you want transparency, internally will be okay juga. So I would say kalau you beratkan kepada transparency, adil, tidak ada masalah lain, then third party. Contoh macam suara kami. That what you using that channel will help you to investigate, resolve, and identify what is the root cause. Then technically handled by the third party. You're not involved. So that is part of the transparency. Let's say you have minor or you tak ada budget untuk third party, you can do it internally. Tapi you kena adil dan sama lah. This is the training that you need to train your HR and also buat satu community jika berlaku case bribery dalam organisation. A community that you form will help to identify, rahsiakan perkara itu supaya tidak harm those yang buat dan yang report. Kemudian the community also kena be more transparent, adil, tidak berlaku berat sebelah supaya yang membuat itu memang betul didapati bersalah dan yang mengadu itu tidak dikecam ataupun tidak diugut daripada si pelaku. So this community will protect those yang report and also those who doing the or the guilty one internally lagi save budget lah kalau kita cakap sebab kalau third party the budget is a little bit expensive. Tapi kalau you buat internally and you have a strong committed team to conduct this bribery committee will be great. Because I normally suggest internally because kalau you resolve among yourself, this community also will bring up what is the loop from your framework. Internally discussion. Yeah.
Fira, is for the training, right? Training is applicable to all employees, including foreign workers as well. If let's say for manufacturing, yeah.
Correct. As long as you get or you receive salary from the organization, considered as an employee, yes, the training must include everyone. Include director, include the top management, the C-level, everyone. Tak ada yang exclude semua. Even T-lady also required to attend this anti-bribery training.
What are the basic training that you suggest for SME?
Basic
And what are
training.
beside the policy? Yeah.
Basic training when we talk about Section 17A, the clauses. Okay, you boleh pergi ataupun HR team boleh study Section 17A and adopt into your training. Boleh, tak ada masalah. And then this selain policy is do and don'ts lah yang paling simple. Okay, if you don't have policy in place, your do and don'ts, your threshold, your whistleblowing mechanism, tiga ni penting. I have conduct one sessions with for one of my client, tapi kita conduct for foreign worker. So we simplify the training according to their language barrier, their education levels, and also the position itself because they are doing hard work kan, labor kan. So we only do like 1 hour sessions by explaining what is bribery, what is the root cause of this cause happen, and then what is the do and don'ts that companies set to ensure they are not doing bribery in the organization. So you can wash down, simplified according to the category of employee. As long as you communicate anti-bribery itu sendirilah. Yeah. Awareness lah paling mudah.
It's a whistleblowing policy, right? Especially for anti-bribery only, or actually for non-anti-bribery, for example, like in other standard lah, grievance mechanism. So is it compulsory? Yeah.
Compulsory, I will say compulsory because this
Both together.
one,
Yeah.
yes, together, it's together.
It means anti-bribery and whistleblowing policy, they are together.
Boleh jadi. It's depend on organisation itself. Sometimes they want to separate, sometimes together. Tapi a good governance to separate supaya orang tidak salah faham. When they read, they know and understand. Oh, this one is for specific for anti-bribery. So this one is for whistleblowing mechanism. So dalam whistleblowing punya policy, you state lah what is the what you can report, included grievance, bribery, bully, harassment. Then you have to identify all the categories inside the whistleblower policy. Okay.
Yeah, because I saw one of the people asking, if let's say the company they are not going for anti-bribery management system, can they also have a whistleblowing policy? If let's say they are going for sustainability, ESG.
Can, no problem with that. It's a good governance actually. It's straighten up your rules and regulations of your organization. You state out the topic or the objective of the whistleblower policy, and then dalam tu you kind of state quite clearly what is the mechanisms to be reported lah. Like I mentioned, it could be anti-bribery, it could be harassment, bully, physical touch, fighting, ataupun mungkin scandals inside the office also can. As long as you list out it clearly, then those policy is and effective, can. No problem.
I think Fasil asked this question a bit related to the question just now. If my sales managers really bribe government officer to win a contract, can my company be charged? Just now the question is director, right? So now this is can my company be charged and how to justify? Can I use my ISO 3700 practice to defend my company? So-called due diligence.
Yeah. Boleh.
Normally only the director will be questioned, or everyone in the company, including other employees as well?
Includes, it depends on the situations. Normally, it's yes, director, and then the top management, the C-level lah.
So normally will involve only top management, right?
Yeah.
Instead of other employees.
Correct.
Okay, Fira. So I think this one also most of people concerned because getting 370 is quite costly. Normally, how the process looks like and the average cost?
Sorry, because my line is a little bit broken. Sorry.
Okay. How's the process look like in order to obtain 3700 certification, and also the overall cost, average cost, ranging from how much to how much, depends on size of organization or what kind of industry, what to be considered. They want to start planning for this certification.
Oh, for ISO 37000 that you mentioned, it's depending on the size and the complexity of the procedure, the price range depending. I will say the documentation preparedness itself from 15 to maybe more than 30 depending on the size. So certificate itself, kalau you pergi certificate body, prepare like 15 and above depending on the size. 15,000 and above depending on the size. Yeah.
You mean 15 15 and above, or 50 and above?
15 and above.
15, the not include certification certification.
Yes. Yes.
Certification, it depends on which certification body, right?
Correct. Macam SGS, if not mistake, is 20,000 USD. Depending. That one is the small size. Kalau Sirim mungkin a little bit cheaper. 12K and above. Depending on the size also.
Depends on the company size, right? The manpower.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I saw Eva also asking, now the new regulator like EU, Bursa, Malaysia, they classify greenwashing as a serious misconduct comparable to fraud. How to link greenwashing with corruption and bribery, especially under ESG or sustainability reporting perspective.
Okay.
How do you relate greenwashing? Yeah.
Claiming that you are conducting assessment or how say because anti bribery corruptions under sustainability itself there are a few category. First is the training, second is the assessment, then the third one is the cases happen or reported. So normally people will greenwashing ataupun expose more on your assessment part. What saying that they conduct the assessment, but actually they are not doing any assessment. Assessment is mean the risk assessment related to the anti bribery, and then like I said, audit area lah. Ha, you kata you mention you have identified the risk related to bribery, tapi actually bila kita pergi buat audit tak ada, bila kita pergi buat assessment tak ada. Then one consider as a greenwashing lah. You are saying ataupun disclose more than you supposed to. Disclosing something that you are not doing but saying that you are doing. Hati-hati because assessment people normally people intend to get confused. Assessment here in Bursa or ESG itself actually audit yang risk assessment yang kita test risk yang you identify. How far you test your risk identified, your how we say your root cause, your prevention planning, that one we test. How far you go for that? Normally people terlebih exposed on that one. That one is greenwashing lah.
Yeah, I think I can add on a little bit because now, right, for the ESG requirement, we start focusing on IFRS. So this is the reason why the IFRS one, they are very much focused on the financial statement. So
Correct.
from the financial statement, you actually you must show the measurement, what you do. Yeah, so it's actually related to the greenwashing. Because a lot of people, a lot of people thought that they just do greenhouse gas emission calculation will be sufficient enough. But when they want to relate to the financial statement, then it's totally not there.
Betul.
Yes.
So bila kita pergi buat assessment, we not call it audit, we do some assessment lah. We test, we fetch back whatever data they given for the sustainability report, want to ensure everything is there. Tapi sometimes they expose that, oh we have this, we implement, we initiated this, tapi tak ada. So yeah, this is what we happening lah. That's why Bursa keluarkan pasal greenwashing. Banyak.
So I think greenwashing is so-called like not directly bribery, but it's actually not telling with our measurement lah when in our IFRS one.
Correct.
Okay, good. Thank you, Fira. Any other question from participants on the floor?
Yeah, I think we have one more from Shahira. So for SME, how is to conduct a basic assessment?
SME to conduct a basic assessment is by testing your framework, anti-bribery framework. Let's say SME don't have framework, then you can do an audit related to the clauses for your documentation, like your contract, your PO. If that is you really implementing those how you say I takut orang salah faham. Sekejap, let me rephrase back my word. Okay. Assessment, minimal SME is to test on your risk. Yang pertama, you identify your risk and then you test it. Is your prevention action plan is really working out? Yang pertama. Yang kedua, is your documentations like contract, PO are really secured and understand by the recipient. Due diligence. Do you really or is your employee really understand on your communications related to bribery and corruption, and they really understand on it by testing them some process ataupun testing them through exam. So assessment ini paling minimal yang you boleh buat for SME. Your risk, testing your risk, testing your due diligence, testing on your process. Because like I mentioned just now, due diligence bukan sahaja pasal declaration form, whatever clauses or statement yang you guna pakai daripada section 17A ataupun ISO 37001. For example, for contract, you need to disclose that we are company ABC, currently simple term kita tidak mengambil bribery and so on. According to MACC, you put one clauses inside your contract. So this is what you test. So you call, did you understand these clauses, and are you aware that you are currently doing this? For example, you can do like that. That's a simple assessment that you can test on your third party due diligence also. Not also internally, also externally, you need to test.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Nofira. So any other questions from the floor?
I think for SME it's quite simple assessment, but when it comes to ESG and IPO, right, materiality assessment, right, I believe the governance risk is one of the material. Yeah.
Correct.
You need to take note on that for if let's say a company is going to IPO. As for you, Kami, if any other questions from the floor?
Okay, I think there's no more question. So I will conclude today's session. So thank you, Ms. Nofira, for today's insightful sharing. So for today's participants, if you have any other further questions regarding this anti-bribery or maybe ESG or about your sustainability reporting, you can contact us and we can share you more details. So later on, we will also share today's recording through your email. So if you have any problem viewing the recording or you need any extra help, just feel free to contact us. And once again, thank you, Ms. Nofira, for today's insightful sharing. Thank you everyone for participating.
Thank you so much.
Coming. For the next webinar session, right, we also will share out. It's related to today's topic, it's about the board responsibility in sustainability governance as well.
So we'll keep all who has actually joined our webinar. We will also constantly update you if we have any other new coming webinars. So stay tuned and wait for our notification. Thank you.
Thanks for the active participant. Thank you so much.